Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Minecraft ideas that were left out of the game. For this list, we'll be looking at the top concepts, gameplay elements, or extra features that were considered but left out of the final sandbox masterpiece. What ideas do you wish they added to Minecraft? Do you have any fun ideas? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Realistic mode. Are you a fan of creative or survival mode? Because Notch wanted to make building your life in the wild even more difficult with realistic mode. This mode, which would have been triggerable from the pause menu, would have added a couple of gameplay elements to make things more immersive. Features like weight limits, hunger, and thirst management would make the game more difficult and detail-oriented. And it wasn't the only immersive heavy addition the developer wanted to add either. Torches burning out probably would have been one of the more annoying realistic features. While it certainly would have been interesting, some players have said they would be glad the mode was optional. Number 9. Exploding arrows. Armor and weapons are an essential part of any Minecraft playthrough, but unfortunately, some didn't make the cut. Chainmail armor was a big omission. It was originally craftable, but now it's only available through trading. If you wanted to personalize your gear a little more, armor markings were once considered. But a weapon that would have been a blast were the explodable arrows. You add some TNT on the crafting table and those skeletons will spend the next 30 minutes trying to find their head. Unfortunately, the effects seem to cause frame rate issues, but we ultimately don't know why this wasn't added. Perhaps it was too overpowered, but it would have been really fun.
Let's just make it explode all the time. Okay, that worked. Yep, that crashed the game.
Number 8. Customized world types. This one's for the veteran players of Minecraft. There are a few menu buttons that have been removed since the game's early development. Do you remember the super secret settings, which were some fun visual filters? Well, one feature that many players miss is the customized world types. This was an in-game feature that gave the player control over terrain generation. You could select the rarity of materials and the shape of the world. Due to completely rewriting the code on how the world is generated, these features were removed. They did reappear after the 1.16 update, however, they were considerably different and required a little more fiddling than casual players may be able to handle. Number 7. DIY saddles. This is an idea that everyone wants to be implemented, but for some reason hasn't. Saddles for animals have always been strangely elusive, only being obtainable through finding it mid-dungeon. But since it's a man-made tool, you'd think it'd be craftable. During the testing phase snapshots leading up to update 1.6, a craftable horse saddle was available. This was different from the regular saddle, which could only be used on pigs, but this was weirdly removed, and it still frustrates players today. This isn't the only unusually non-craftable item, and players have stated they want horse armor and golden apple recipes to make a return. Number 6. Beer. Notch was obsessed with adding every feature he could think of during Minecraft's development. Given its medieval-esque themes, there were a lot of medieval creatures and elements considered. Siege weapons was a popular idea, where you could mount cannons on your defense walls. Things like troll enemies and goblin towns would have also been welcome. But by far the most adult addition would have been a brewery crafting table. With this, you would have been able to create beer, which might have affected your character upon consumption. However, since it was a game primarily for children, adding drinkable alcohol was undoubtedly considered a bad idea. Number 5. Ruby Ore. Trading is the only way to get certain items in Minecraft, so the choice of what the villagers would trade with was an important one. While emeralds are the current method for bartering with the natives of Minecraft, it wasn't always the case. Notch had considered rubies before the green jewels, which would have been harvested the same way, but the ore looked a little too much like redstone. It was abandoned after concerns were raised by Dinnerbone, one of the developers, who was colorblind. But if you are desperate for this gem to show up in your blocky world, there are plenty of mods that do the job for you. Number 4. Holdable torches. Light is a very important element of the game. Not only does it illuminate dark places, but it also helps stop hostile mobs from spawning there during the night. Given how essential torches are, you'd think holding one would be more useful than placing them endlessly throughout your mines. If you thought that, you weren't the only one. Notch had once considered holdable torches, but it was never implemented. It's an active request from the community, with some even suggesting headlamps to be added. But Microsoft believes that this wouldn't fit the setting of Minecraft. I think we've all seen weirder things pop up in these blocky worlds. Number 3. Removed blocks. Minecraft is made up of so many blocks. It's hard to imagine any that didn't make it through. However, there are more than you may realize. Redstone was once going to be accompanied by gear blocks, which would have worked mostly in the same way, but the two would have had exclusive functions. You could have halved the dirt to become dirt slabs. Wanted to give your shack a bit of color? Well, it was decided at one point that dyeing your wooden blocks might be a bit too creative. Are there any materials that you wish were added? All we can hope is that they will make an appearance in future releases. Number 2. Different mobs. Fun fact, creepers were created as a result of a coding error with the pig model. But unfortunately, not all the creatures had the kinks worked out. Old school Minecraft players might remember the killer bunny with red eyes, which dealt serious damage if angered. Ever wanted to fight a kaiju in Minecraft? At one point, mega beasts were going to be in the game, which were essentially giant versions of normal enemies. Or maybe you wanted to get a bit more medieval with some overworld spawning dragons. The possibilities are endless, but I'm sure we don't mind not getting stepped on by some giant zombies.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Sky Dimension. The lands of Minecraft are ever expansive. With endless beautiful biomes and hellish landscapes to discover, you can't help but wonder, what else would there be to find? Before the release of Beta 1.8, you might have found the Farlands, a towering, nonsensical fusion of blocks created by a terrain bug. But a place that players were never fully graced with was the Sky Dimension. These floating islands were supposed to be a dream world, which was the opposite of the Nether, accessible after the player goes to bed. The idea proved technically difficult. While you can have a similar experience through certain maps, the original concept was rejigged into what we now know as the End.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.